So in this video, we're going to talk about how to strengthen the hands and the fingers in order to meet the incredible demands that Rachmaninoff's music makes on our physique. Rachmaninoff was a formidable man. He was a 6'6" height, and his hands were probably a good half-inch longer on each finger than my hand, which is already large. But there are ways that we can fortify our arms and finger muscles so that we don't get injured when we play. You hear all the time about these pianists that have to sit out for long periods of time due to injuries to their arm, wrist, hands. We don't want that to happen. And one of the ways that has been proven time and time again as an effective measure to take against injury is training. Proper training of the muscles can beef up the muscles, the tendons even, the connective tissue, and everything that's involved to make everything more resistant to injury. So I'm going to show you a way that I have learned to strengthen the arms as a rock climber and how you can adapt that to your piano regimen. Stick with me. Here I'm going to show you a few warm-up exercises and strength exercises for the hands. Now, before you do any of the hangboard exercises, which I'm going to show you next in the video, I would definitely recommend doing this one, which is a standard rock climbing warm-up. And what you're going to do is you're just going to start with your hands straight. You're going to squeeze here, and then you're going to squeeze here. So first I do the straight hand, then I go the upper joints of the knuckles. I squeeze against the knuckles, upper joints of the fingers, excuse me, and then I squeeze against the knuckles, and then I take the whole fingers and squeeze against the palm like this. Just a quick squeeze and just a few times. Okay, don't go overboard with this because you don't want to get too much bad tension in the tendons, especially if you haven't trained your fingers at all. Next thing you want to do is at the piano, you can do what I call the 5-finger strengthening exercise. So you can take any 5 white keys. I would recommend taking C through G, right? Press all the keys down, and you want to keep your joints slightly curved. You never want to break. This is bad piano technique. This is called flat tires. I know a lot of people call this flat tires. You don't want to let those flat tires happen. You want to keep these fingers like strong columns holding up the arm weight. And then what you're going to do is 4 times each finger, you're going to go from maximum strength. So I'm going to use the mute here because I don't want to ruin my hammers. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hold the 5 keys down, and you go do 1 finger at a time, 4 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4. The thumb is an important element because this is really the only exercise I'm giving you that'll strengthen the thumb. It strengthens the thumb and it forces it to play the way that it works. The thumb plays like this, which is as opposed to all the other fingers which do this. The thumb has a different way of moving. So this exercise is good for it. You're going to do that 4 times. You're going to go to the next finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I'm lifting the fingers high for this exercise, okay? It's so that I can get the maximum power. And it also helps strengthen the finger. You never want to play like this, picking up the fingers like this. Hardly ever will you want to play the piano like this. But for the finger strengthening technique, the exercise that we're doing right now, that's what you need to do. This is also going to work your independence of the fingers. Notice I'm picking the 4th finger up independently of the other fingers. The reason Robert Schumann, when he used a contraption to strengthen the fingers, the reason why he ended up getting injured is because he was attempting to go for maximum finger strength independent on the 4th finger, independent of the other fingers. We don't want to do that. The fingers are naturally linked. The 3rd and 4th finger are naturally linked by a shared muscle group that's down here in the arm that activates those fingers. And we don't want to defeat that. That's actually helpful for us in piano. We want to work with rather than against it. So the reason Robert Schumann got injured with his contraption to strengthen the fingers is because he was attempting to circumvent that natural mechanism that's in our arm. Welcome to my outdoor rock gym. And it's very simple. Anybody can build this. What I have here is it's simply a 1 inch wide by 2 inch strip of pine wood. You can just get this at Home Depot. It's quite cheap. Get a long strip. And then right next to it, what I've done is I've cut one of these basically in half. So what I'm going to do is just let my back muscles take as much of the weight as I can, and I'm just going to hang on this. just used 3 screws going through the center, and I drilled small pilot holes for the screw, and then you just drill a screw in nice and tight, nice and snug. And I've also filed the edge. This is important. You want to file this edge so that it's rounded, and you never want the fingers to hold on like this. This is how you would injure your tendons and fingers. This is a good way to get injured, by hanging like this, what's called a crimp grip in rock climbing. What we want to do is we want to have our grip as open as possible. So we want to hang on just like this, leaving your thumb off and trying to relax the thumb as much as possible. And we're just using these 4 fingers. Also, you'll notice with this smaller wood, I have little screws here, smaller screws, to reinforce. Since there's less wood to hold the screws, I use more screws in this one. This is what the black screws look like that I used for the 1-inch piece. Maybe 3/16, I want to say, wide, and about 2 1/4 inches long. That gives me plenty of hold for this strip of wood to screw into this rafter here.